One of the characteristics of successful scientists is having courage. Once you get your courage up and believe that you can do important problems, then you can. If you think you cannot, almost surely you are not going to. This powerful statement comes from Richard Hemming's 1986 speech, You and Your Research. Even though it was delivered to scientists, the power of this speech goes well beyond science. So in this video I'm going to share with you a few passages that I think are very insightful when it comes to personal growth, achievement, but also how to strive to create more impactful work in our lives. I think that if you look carefully, you will see that often the great scientists, by turning the problem around a bit, change a defect to an asset. For example, many scientists, when they have found they couldn't do a problem, finally began to study why not. Then they turned it around the other way and said, but of course, this is what it is, and got an important result. So ideal working conditions are very strange. The ones you want are not always the best ones for you. Now, for a matter of drive, you observe that many great scientists have tremendous drive. I worked for 10 years with John at Bell Labs. He had tremendous drive. One day, about 3 or 4 years after I joined, I discovered that John was slightly younger than I was. John was a genius, and clearly I was not. How can anybody my age know so much as John does? He said, You would be surprised, Hemming, how much you would know if you worked as hard as he did that many years. Knowledge and productivity are like compound interest. Given two people of approximately the same ability and one person works 10% more than the latter will more than twice outproduce the former. The more you know, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you can do. And the more you can do, the more the opportunity. It is very much like compound interest. Think about that. It is not just about talent. It is about the consistent effort and building effective habits that has this snowball effect. In our lives, whether it's learning a new skill or starting a business or improving our health, it is about these small, consistent and daily actions that really compound, leading to surprising long-term results. So ask yourself, what is the small daily action that you can start doing today that brings you closer to your goals? On the other side of the dining hall, there was a chemistry table. I'd worked with one of the fellow. I went over there and said, Do you mind if I join you? They cannot say no. So I started eating with them for a while. And I started asking, what are the important problems of your field? And after a week or so, what important problems are you working on? And after some more time, I came in one day and said, if what you're doing is not important, and if you don't think it is going to lead to something important, why are you working on it? I was not welcomed after that. I had to find somebody else to eat with. I've never heard the names of any of the other fellows at that table mentioned in any science or scientific circles. They were unable to ask themselves, what are the important problems in my field? If you do not work on an important problem, it is unlikely that you will do important work. It's perfectly obvious. Now again, emotional commitment is not enough. It is a necessary condition apparently, and I think I can tell you the reason why. Everybody who has studied creativity is driven finally to saying, creativity comes out of your subconscious. Somehow, suddenly, there it is. It just appears. Well, we know very little about subconscious, but one thing we're pretty well aware of is that your dreams also come out of your subconscious. And you're aware your dreams are, to a fair extent, a reworking of the experiences of the day. If you are deeply immersed and committed to a topic, day after day after day, your subconscious has nothing to do but work on your problem. And so you wake up one morning or on some afternoon and there's the answer. So the way to manage yourself is that when you have a really important problem, you don't let anything else get the center of your attention. You keep your thoughts on the problem. The great scientists, when an opportunity opens up, get after it and they pursue it. They drop all other things. They get rid of other things and they get after an idea. Because they already thought the thing through. Their minds are prepared. They see the opportunity and they go after it. Now, of course, lots of times it doesn't work out. But you don't have to eat that many of them to do some great science. I will remind you, it is the poor workman who blames his tools. The good man gets on with the job, given what he has got, and gets the best answer he can. And I suggest that by altering the problem, by looking at the thing differently, you can make a great deal of difference in your final productivity. If you want to do something, don't ask, do it. This is such a powerful call to action. How many times do we find ourselves overthinking, or seeking permission, or waiting for the perfect moment? Hemming here is just reminding us that often the biggest obstacle to progress is simply inaction. Taking the first step, even with imperfect resources or incomplete information, is crucial. Another thing you should look for is the positive side of things, instead of the negative. How, given this situation, by changing the way I looked at it, I converted what was apparently a defect to an asset. I will give you an example. I'm an egoistical person. There is no doubt about it. I knew that most people who took a sabbatical to write a book didn't finish it on time. So, before I left, I told all my friends that when I come back, the book was going to be done. Yes, I would have it done. I would have been ashamed to come back without it. I used my ego to make myself behave the way I wanted. I've told you how easy it is. Furthermore, I've told you how to reform. Therefore, go forth and become great scientists.